Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today is January 16, 2008, 6:15 p.m. It's concerning investigation RF 2007-00748. It's Matt Lindeman with the Texas Rangers. Myself and Williamson County Sheriff Detective Mark Gomez will be conducting an interview at Georgetown Police Department in Lieutenant Tim Stingle's office. Stingle will most likely be present. How long does this DVD run? I told you today I watched about 35 minutes of it.
It's a good, I think it's more than an hour.
Okay.
You heard the latest?
I'll
I'll take it. Hey.
Hello.
Mark Gomez with the Sheriff's Department.
Nice to meet you.
Matt Lindeman.
Hi, I'm Jody.
So I'm going to grab an extra chair.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
So we wait for Tim. First of all, thanks for talking with us. You don't have to talk with us. You don't have to, you're not in any trouble, not under arrest or anything like
Free
that.
to leave.
Free to take off at any time you want, okay?
Okay.
Just got a few questions to ask you about a particular night. Let's start with your name.
Jody Taylor.
And you spell it?
Jodie and Taylor.
And your date of birth? You know your driver's license number?
Oh my gosh.
And home phone number.
That's my cell. I don't have a home number.
Okay. How about what's your address? Okay. You have any idea why you may be here?
Lieutenant Stingle told me you wanted to talk to me about a call that happened in March.
Okay. Is that all you can remember, or?
Yeah, I have no idea
Okay.
what call it is.
Go back to March. I'm thinking actually the night of March 12th. March 13th is when that old man on Berry Creek got swept down the creek. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The shift before. Is there anything that you can remember, maybe out of the ordinary? Anything that kind of stands out? Doesn't make it a normal day or night?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. Do you remember who was working? What shift? Or the sergeant?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay. It was Sergeant Fennell. Fennell was working that night. Is there anything? I mean, just think about the calls. I mean, or think about anything that would have just like would stand out to you?
Anything unusual happened that night?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Were you guys ever asked to assist the officers, say if a male officer has a female prisoner, has to bring them back to the police department, or are you ever called out, dispatched to go back like to the patrol area to watch the female or anything like that? If she would need to go to the restroom and there wasn't a female officer, have you ever been called on to do that?
I've never been called on to do that, no, but on this shift I'm on now, I believe it's happened. But my supervisor did it.
Okay, but you personally have not.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Do you remember that occasion when your supervisor did it? Or did you just hear about it, or were you working, or what?
I was working at that time, and it was Ashley. I don't know what officer called her out to do it, but they had a female juvenile in the back, and she needed to go to the restroom.
Do you remember when?
I don't.
More than a year, more than a month, more than a week?
I was probably within the last 2 months.
Okay. And it was definitely a juvenile female?
Those are the only ones that I know that they bring back to the PD.
Okay. So juveniles are the only people that they bring back?
That I'm aware of, unless they're bringing them here to wait for a ride or to speak with victim services or something like that.
What are the procedures? What are the normal procedures if an officer's going to do that? If they're bringing someone of the opposite sex?
I really don't know what the procedure is for them.
Okay, what normally what do they do if they're transporting someone?
If they're transporting someone of the opposite sex, they'll tell us where they're going and give us a beginning and ending mileage.
Okay. Okay. Last 2 months. Have you heard of any other instances where y'all were asked, or you or anybody else, have you heard anybody talking about them being asked to help with a female prisoner? Prisoner or person? Yeah.
No,
No?
not dispatch-wise.
Okay. Okay.
Good enough.
That's
Thank
good
you.
for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
See you. Time 6:19 p.m. This concludes the recording. Today is January the 15th, 2008, 6:27 p.m. This is Matt Lindeman with the Texas Rangers. Myself and Williamson County Sheriff's Office Detective Mark Gomez will be conducting an interview at Georgetown Police Department and Lieutenant Stingle's office concerning investigation RF 2007-00748.
Big chair.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
Melissa?
Melissa, hi there. Mark Gomez.
Mark
Nice to
Gomez.
meet you.
Nice to meet
Matt
you.
Lindeman.
Nice to meet you. Oh.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to talk to us.
Oh, no problem.
What's your full name?
Melissa and Connell.
M-E-L, two L's?
ISSA, yeah.
2 L's or just one?
One N. One L, two S's.
C-O-N-N.
ELL.
And your date of birth? I said, thanks for coming. Thanks for talking to us. You don't have to talk to us. You're free to leave anytime.
Oh.
Just trying to clear some things up. Do you have any idea why you're here?
Somewhat.
Okay, tell me what you.
I'm assuming because of Fennell.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's. I want you to go back to March 12th.
Okay.
Okay, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Frame of reference on the 13th. The night of the 13th is when we had the big floods.
Mm-hmm.
The
water rescue,
older
yes.
man,
Mhm.
Berry Creek, is when
Yeah,
we got.
I worked that in, yes,
Okay. So we're going the shift before.
yeah. Okay.
You remember anything out of the ordinary? Anything kind of sticks out in your mind?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
It's been a while, but no, not anything that would stand out.
Okay. Anytime do you remember seeing Fennell here at the or the old office?
Yeah, I mean, just coming in from driving around, I'm assuming, just
Okay.
coming in, sitting down, working on the computer or whatever. And
Was he ever with anybody? Not an officer, but
throughout the night, maybe one or two would go in the office and talk to him, but not like walking in together or leaving together or
Who?
anything like that. Oof.
there's somebody who works here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not talking about an employee or.
Oh, okay. No.
Ever seen him with anybody?
No, not that I know of. No, I didn't really pay too
Okay.
much attention.
Okay. Did he ever ask you to do anything that you think was probably outside the scope of your responsibility?
No, nothing
Never?
at all. Mm-mm.
Okay. Have you heard anybody, maybe him asking somebody to do something that wasn't probably
No,
any of the other dispatchers or anything?
no, nothing. No, nobody.
And nothing kind of sticks out. I mean, that you would, I'm talking like it's going to be like,
No,
wow.
It's been a while, and but I don't. Not anything that would out of the ordinary.
Do you guys, if there's not a female officer on duty and the male officers have a female up at the police department, do you ever assist them in any way in dealing with females? Whether it be standing by and watching them use the restroom?
I did
or-
one time, but that wasn't with Fennell. It was with another officer. We had one of the girls. She needed to go to the restroom, and I just
Right.
kind of watched to make sure she didn't run out the back door or anything.
Okay.
But yeah,
Is that something that you guys normally do?
not normally. But she was young.
Mhm.
She was picked up for shoplifting, so But other than that, I've hardly ever seen any other women, as far as being like 20 years older in the PD that have been in custody or anything like that. I've never seen anybody come in.
You've never seen anybody come in, a
Mm-mm.
female who come in 20?
Mm-mm.
So that wasn't normal if if
No.
that did happen, that wasn't normal?
No. To me, it wasn't. I mean, I
Right.
wouldn't see why they would bring them to the PD, so.
Okay.
Unless it was a juvenile that was being picked up by her parents or something,
Right.
but nobody out of the ordinary that was just picked up off the street for a warrant or whatever would come to the PD.
What's the normal practice?
Take them into custody. They go en route to the jail, give their mileage, ending mileage at the jail.
Mhm.
They clear and come back to the PD, do their paperwork.
Okay. So they just drop them off at the jail?
Yeah,
Okay. If they're in custody?
yeah.
Okay.
What's your driver's license number, please, Melissa? And either a home or a cell phone for you? What's your home address?
Yes.
Your extension at work is 3510?
Yes.
How long have you worked here?
2 years.
In communications that whole time?
Total of 8.
What did you do for the other 6?
I worked at the communication center in Belton.
What, 2 years here?
Yeah.
You have anything else, Mark?
That's it.
Thank you very much for visiting with us.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Uh-huh.
Conclude this recording at 6:34.
I did 12 years with them and 3.5.
It's October 29th, 2007, 12:40 p.m. It's Matt Lindeman with the Texas Rangers.
Who's that?
Doug Ednutson with Highway Patrol.
I do. I know Sharon too with 100 Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, know them both.
Small world, huh?
Yeah, that it is. Yeah, I was just at the 100 Club banquet last year. She does a good job with that.
Tell me your full name, please.
First name Jeffrey, R-E-Y. Last name Dower, D as in David, A-U-E-R.
Middle?
Edward.
You go by Jeff?
Yep.
The reason we're here today is some very serious allegations have been made against y'all Sergeant Jimmy Fennell.
Yes.
Okay, in criminal nature.
Yes.
We're doing everything we can to get to the bottom of it. Can't tell you how it's going to turn out, but we just got to work through it and find out.
Understood.
Appreciate you talking to us. You're not under arrest. You can leave at any time. Just so you know that. I've got a bunch of blanks on my report I need to fill in, so if I can get some pertinent information from you, we'll get into that in just a moment. Your birthday, please. And hair color?
Brown
Mm-hmm.
and blue. A little bit of gray mixed in there.
How tall are you?
5'10".
Weight?
About 225.
Social Security? DL number?
Oh, geez.
It's a new one to you, huh?
Yeah.
How long have you been working at Georgetown Police Department now?
Started the academy April 30th. We hit the streets, or graduated September 21st.
A little over a month.
Yeah.
Your home address, please?
And that is in Hutto.
What is that? Home phone? You had prior law enforcement working at Georgetown PD? Where was that?
Phoenix PD for 12 years. And DEA as a investigator for 3.5. Also in Phoenix.
Special agent?
No.
DEA or?
Diversion investigator.
We're concerned with what occurred during the shift last Thursday night till Friday morning, 6 a.m. You working for Sergeant Fennell then?
Yes.
Working with another officer, FTO program?
Actually working two. Started with Shanna Shelley.
Mm-hmm.
She went home at midnight, and then I jumped in with Rusty Rogenkamp.
Okay.
Or Rogenkamp.
How'd that night go?
Good. Uneventful. Other than this.
Can you tell us what your involvement was with the disturbance calls over to Water's Edge Apartments?
First call, I just jumped in with Rusty. We got done doing some stuff, changing out equipment from car to car. Jumped in with him. He was driving. I think we had just left a shots fired call that probably turned out to be fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
When the initial call came out of the disturbance. He and I arrived, and he went towards Sergeant Fennell, who I think Shanna was over there because they requested a female officer, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Rusty went towards Shanna and Sergeant Fennell. I saw Officer Morris, probably 30, 40 feet away from where the other officers were, and he had a white male sitting on like a rock wall. He was speaking with him, so I made my way over there to just kind of be his cover guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting some background information from the white male. I think it was Ryan Lear.
Correct.
Okay. Ryan had a little bit of an attitude, wasn't really volunteering anything, so I stood by while Mike was speaking with him, tried to talk to him a couple times, got him to talk a little bit. Rusty came over to check to see what we were doing, and he and Rusty didn't exactly have a very good rapport, so Rusty went back to where Sergeant Fennell and everybody else was, and I stood by with Ryan while Mike went and ran him and everything.
What was the outcome on that situation as far as the two people that were involved?
The female I didn't have any contact with at the initial call.
Okay.
But we ended up taking Lear to jail for PI. He refused to do any kind of test. Very uncooperative. A couple things that stuck out though, because like I say, I got him to talk a little bit more than what the other guys did. He had a scratch on the right side of his neck that appeared to be pretty fresh. It was still pretty red. Fair complected guy, red hair, so it kind of stuck out. And Officer Morris had asked him about it. He didn't really elaborate at that time, but I kind of brought it up with him when it was just he and I standing there. I think Mike might have came back towards the end of it. He said that he had got it from his girlfriend, who was her name, Connie. Mm-hmm. Said they just had sex about 20 minutes before we got there in their apartment. And after that, they went for a walk. We're coming back from the pool when we showed up. Mm-hmm. So, he admitted that, hey, things got a little rough while they were having sex, and he must have got the scratch then. He didn't positively say it, but that was his guess.
I believe they'd been fighting or whatever.
No, he never did give that up. Said they were having a conversation, told us about the next day they were supposed to go back to the complex and sign a lease on a place. Something to that effect or something, but yeah, he wasn't very helpful.
Who actually took him into custody and transported him?
Mike took him.
Morris.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
What happened after that? Did everybody leave at the same time, or?
I don't recall how everybody left at the same time. Rusty and I left. I actually had some paperwork from an earlier arrest that we were en route to take to the jail. As we got to the jail, Mike was pulling up with Lear, so we handed my paperwork off to Mike, and he brought it into the jail for us. And then Rusty and I, since I'm new to the city, we were kind of driving around. He was showing me some of the quirky street numbers in Georgetown and stuff like that. So we were cruising around, kind of checking places out.
Did you respond to any calls in between that scene the first time and the second time?
We made a backup for Officer Sanford, I believe, on a traffic stop that was over on Leander and Railroad. We'd made a joke about something. We were sneaking through one of the neighborhoods. We thought we'd saw, if I remember correctly, I thought we'd seen a car or something. So we were driving with our lights off through one of the neighborhoods, and across, I guess it's Austin Avenue, where that little drive-through liquor store is, and the Monument Cafe, we saw another patrol unit, and we found out later it was Sergeant Fennell.
How'd you find that out?
We had mentioned, I saw the car and made comment about it because we were starting to, right after that, we went over to where Kyle was on his traffic stop. The other car went the other way, and then I think when we went out on the second call, Rusty and Sergeant Fennell were talking, and that's when Sergeant Fennell had mentioned, yeah, I saw you guys sneaking around over there. I was getting ready to stop you until I realized it was a police car.
So y'all, how far away were you?
At the time we saw each other,
Like, was he at one end of the block and y'all were at the other?
he was on one side of the street and we were on the other.
Like a block?
Yeah, probably not much more than that.
Off?
Yeah, when we were coming through the
Pass you?
neighborhood.
Like
No, we were going the other way. He, let me get oriented here. He was going south. We were going west.
Could you tell it was his car just by looking at it?
I couldn't.
Was it in a distance? You know those little numbers that are back there on that C-pillar?
Yeah.
Was it a distance where you could have read that? Because that's only, that big.
If I would have thought to look at it, maybe.
From one end of the block to another?
Well, I don't think it would be a full block, and it was pretty well lit. It was more from one side of the road to the other. But we were coming up on the intersection.
I mean, I guess I'm confused.
Maybe 100 yards.
So 100 yards?
Yeah.
Could you have seen that number?
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't even think to look at it, so I couldn't tell you.
But if I took you out on a football field, do you think, is that
Probably
reasonable?
not. Not at nighttime.
And you had, the lights were off, who was driving?
Rusty was driving.
And he didn't go by you, he went like...
Yeah, we were going the other way. We were going west.
Almost like a T profile?
Pretty much so.
Yeah, we're heading over to Leander Road at that time?
I think we were starting to make our way on the other side of Austin to go through one of those neighborhoods. Because like I say, he was showing me around some of the streets, the way they're numbered, like 16th and a half Street. And Goes from 19th to 21st, stuff like that. We were just working our way through the old town part of Georgetown, and we happened to be in that area when Officer Sanford asked for a check by. So
How far away from Sanford were you?
We weren't very far.
Couple of blocks?
It probably took us less than 2 minutes to get there.
I wonder why that other unit didn't go.
He had left the other area, and I think because we answered up first, and we were a 2-man unit. So, yeah, other than that, I don't know.
But you couldn't see who was in the car?
I couldn't.
It looked like, what, could you kind of tell where they were headed? Or that unit was headed?
No, it looked like he was over there checking out just some areas. I don't know if he just got done talking to Kyle or whatnot. I don't know.
Did Rusty know who it was right away? Did he go, oop, there's Sarge?
I don't recall.
So he didn't know who it was?
Yeah, I don't recall if he said something at that point or not.
Did it sound like, from what you heard in the conversation at that second scene, that he was just finding out that was Sarge sneaking around? Or when y'all were sneaking around saying, I saw y'all sneaking around?
Yeah, that was my understanding. Is it was kind of like we were wondering if that was him. Because on our computers it has the unit status screen, so you can tell who's available and who's out on stuff. So I don't know if Rusty put 2 and 2 together that he was available in that area. I don't know.
He didn't say anything to you about it?
No.
But it sounded like, from what you heard Rusty talking to Sarge about on that second scene, it sounded like a surprise to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah. Sounded like, hey, I saw you, well, we saw you, but I didn't know it was you and I didn't know it was you. But both in the same area kind of thing.
Right.
So if that makes sense.
How did you find out about the second call over there?
If I remember correctly, Sergeant Fennell came on the radio and asked for another unit. Asked for us to see him over there.
At Water's Edge?
Yeah.
He didn't ask you to meet him in Hobby Lobby or anything?
The where?
Hobby Lobby?
Not that I recall.
You said meet me over here at the apartments?
Yeah, I thought so.
Then what happened?
We showed up. When we first pulled into the entrance to the apartments, we noticed EMS, an ambulance up front. We kind of stopped there because we weren't sure where in the complex everybody was. If I remember correctly, we saw a couple patrol cars off to the right of the entrance. Rusty got on the radio and asked where they needed us, and Sergeant Fennell came on the air and told us when we first came in to make a left, start making our way back to the back of the complex. We turned left, started going towards what I assume was the back of the complex, and as we came down a hill and started to curve around to the right, we saw Sergeant Fennell, and we stopped there. Got out of the car. Of course, me being the new guy, it's really not my place to do much on something there, so I just kind of stood by and listened, and I'm not even sure what the words were. Something to the effect that I think Sergeant Fennell said that Connie was accusing him of raping her, and I could hear her. I didn't know where she was at first. I heard her before I saw her, but I could hear her. Basically, it sounded like she was talking on the phone.
Was she in a car?
No, she actually ended up being on the 3rd flight of a set of stairs to another apartment building.
Was she with anybody?
Not at the time.
No officer with her?
Yeah, no, Kyle was up there with her. Officer Sanford was up there with her trying to talk to her.
Did y'all have your camera rolling? Do you know?
I think he might have had it. I don't know if he had it rolling at that point, but from where we were, it wouldn't have got her.
But you don't know if it was rolling yet?
I don't know at that point if he had it rolling or not.
You're saying it wouldn't have got her if she wasn't in view, or she wasn't in range of the mic?
Well, I don't know. We didn't have in-car video back in Arizona, so I'm still kind of navigating my way through that. But our car was facing straight ahead, and she was off to the left and up the 3 flights of stairs. So, yeah, Sergeant Fennell asked Rusty and I, more Rusty, I just kind of went there to back him up, to go over there and talk to her. And what I assumed was to try to get a statement, try to figure out what was going on. I didn't know if we were going to have much luck because she was loud and sounded pretty hysterical. As we started making our way over there, the first thing I noticed is I heard her pitch kind of got higher pitched and shrieking. She points down at me and says, "Oh my God, that's him, it's him." I'm like, what the hell did I do? I just got here. You know, and like I say, at the first call, I didn't have any contact with her. So when she did that, I'm like, well, how's this girl know me? I mean, I didn't have any previous dealing with her or anything.
Before.
Yeah, and I mean, other than being white guys and a little bit older, Sergeant Fennell and I don't exactly look much alike. I wear glasses, he doesn't. I had my glasses on at that time. So she said that, and then we start walking up the stairs, and we get probably at the second landing, and if I remember correctly, she was on the stairs in between the second and third landing at that point because she was moving around. She started working her way back up to the third flight. We went up there to make contact with her. She was on the phone, I think, with you guys as dispatch. She kept screaming about wanting a rape kit. Somebody raped her. He raped her. Like I said, she pointed at me, and then we were trying to get her to come down the stairs because she was making a pretty good noise out there. So we were wanting to get her away from the apartment buildings. And not only that, I mean, it was pretty obvious from talking with Ryan earlier in the evening and from what his statements were that they had had a couple drinks. She was kind of bouncing all over the place, hysterical, thinking, you know,
Why didn't she go to jail for PI too?
Why did she?
Why didn't she?
At that point?
First time.
First time.
I don't know. Like I say, I didn't have any dealing with her at the first call, so.
Did I plan on arresting her? I mean, like, did Morris act like he was going to arrest her?
He was dealing with the guy.
He was.
Yeah, I don't
He never
think.
went over there and.
Not that I remember. Not when I was there. And like I said, there were people already on scene when we showed up the first time, so he could have already had contact with her. I don't know.
Yeah, she was drunk or something.
Well, like I said, on the first call, I don't know what shape she was in.
But when you saw her this time.
But the second call, yeah, she was definitely. You could smell it coming from her breath and just the way she was acting and being hysterical and everything. So we wanted to get her down get her out of the landing of the apartments and get her down the stairs.
You, Rusty, and Kyle?
Yeah.
And 12 years that you worked out there at Phoenix, did you deal with females that had been sexually assaulted?
Yes.
And I know they're not all the same, but did you believe her that night?
No.
Why not?
Well, first of all, when she points at me when I get out of the car and I hadn't even had any dealing with her, I mean, the two of us don't really look alike. It just looked to me like it was a thing of convenience more than anything. Yeah, it just didn't rub me the right way.
What do you think she was trying to gain by doing that?
You know, I don't know if she was trying to either get herself in jail because she didn't have any place to go. I don't know if she was trying to make a stink to help her boyfriend out because she felt bad about whatever happened between them earlier in the evening.
She just didn't display behavior that you'd seen in other sexual assault victims that you dealt with?
No, because I worked in investigations back there. You know, at least from my experience, I haven't heard too many sexual assault victims be so adamant about demanding a rape kit. I mean, most of the time, the last thing they really want to do is be out in the public openly yelling, "I've been raped, I want a rape kit." You know, if anything, they're a little more subdued, a little more introverted, not real happy and proud about what may have happened. So, I thought that was a little odd.
Did y'all get her put down in the car finally?
Yeah, we actually took her into custody on the second landing of steps because she kept running back up, or trying to run back and up and down the stairs. We were a little bit worried that she was going to go over one of the edges and stuff because she wasn't very stable. She'd act like she was going to squat down and then stand back up. We tried to just escort her down the stairs, and she kept pulling away and everything, so we finally, for our safety and hers, because it was kind of tight quarters up there, placed her in handcuffs and then walked her down to the bottom landing. She initially started to calm down a little bit, and then I know Rusty was speaking with her, and Kyle and I, Sergeant Fennell asked Kyle and I to go back to, I think it was apartment 1634, to where Connie and Ryan had some friends there. Go over there and try to interview them and get a statement from them.
Stop them?
Yeah, we did.
What'd they say?
Well, it took us probably a good 5 minutes of banging on the door to get them to come to the door. And then, gosh, I'm trying to remember her name. I want to say it might have been Jennifer.
Leah.
Once she came to the door, we started talking to her, and one of the first things out of her mouth, because we were like, why did it take you so long to come to the door? We knew you were in there, you know. You're not in any trouble, we just want to talk to you. And one of the first things that I remember her saying is, well, I don't really like to talk to cops too much or have much to do with them. So it's like, wow, this is going to go a long way. Mm-hmm. Kyle and I talked to her briefly, tried to find out what was going on. She'd given us a little background that, because my impression was that Ryan and Jeremy were military friends, and Ryan was staying with him. After speaking with both Jeremy and Leah, come to find out, I'm not quite sure that was a living arrangement. But anyway, the other girl, Leah, had said that Connie had lived with them a couple months earlier. They ended up kicking her out because she wasn't keeping up on her rent and wasn't doing the things she was supposed to be doing. So she and Ryan had stopped by the apartment earlier in the evening for about 20 minutes. Not much happened. Didn't seem like they were real welcome there. Then they left. And then probably about 20 minutes prior to us coming back to the apartment on the second call, Connie was over there, banged on their door. They answered the door, opened the door, and she was standing out there, had dirt on her face, in tears, hysterical, saying that a Georgetown police officer had just raped her. And if I recall, what Leah said is she was getting ready to try to talk to her, and next thing she knew, Connie was walking off.
So in between that first call and that second call, Leah and them hadn't seen her at the house at all?
That was my understanding.
Did she, when you saw her, you said she had a little bit of dirt or something on her face?
Well, that's what Leah had said.
Did you see that?
I didn't see that, but she was flushed, tears.
Clothes dirty, like she'd fallen down.
Or something?
I didn't pay much attention to
I
her.
realized it was dark out there.
Yeah, I wasn't paying much attention to her clothing. She looked sloppy.
Is it cold out there?
It was a little chilly.
Was she dressed appropriately for the weather conditions?
No, I very seldom wear long sleeves. I had long sleeves and a long sleeve undershirt on. She, if I remember right, she had on like sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Barefooted, maybe?
Yeah, I believe so.
Let's go back to that first call you all made out there and the way everybody left. Where was the last place you saw her, Connie?
Over with Sergeant Fennell. I believe Officer Shelley was still there. She was sitting in the back of one of the patrol cars with the door open.
Was she handcuffed?
I don't believe so, but I don't know.
Feet in or out, or was she, she's sitting sideways with her feet on the ground, or was she...
The way I remember it as we were leaving is feet were out, she was sitting sideways, and it appeared that she was sitting there more out of comfort than necessity.
Okay. So it wasn't like she was back there because they were having to put her in there to keep her there or detain her or anything?
No, that wasn't my understanding. My understanding is we already knew who was going on that call, and it was Ryan.
So Morris took the mail away.
Yes.
And then at some point you and Rusty decided to leave.
Yep. Shortly after that, I walked Mike back to the car with Ryan, helped him get him secured in the car. I remember Mike buckling the seat belt. And then, if I remember correctly, shortly after that, Rusty and I left. So.
Did y'all talk about, the gal, why she wasn't arrested, or what was going to happen to her?
No, I didn't know enough about the call.
When y'all's call, so it didn't really matter to you at the time?
Yeah, I didn't know enough about the call to know who did what. I know we had that scratch on the side of his neck, and, like I said, he wasn't exactly cooperative, but his explanation, out of everything that he did or didn't say, that was probably one of the things that made the most sense.
On the second call, were you there any of the time that Rusty was talking to the female?
I wasn't there at the car towards the end of it, because Kyle and I had gotten done talking to the other two people. Mm-hmm. We came back and we're letting Sergeant Fennell know what they had to say, and we were probably 4 or 5 car lengths away. So I could overhear a little bit of what Rusty was saying, because he was outside of the car with the door open. I couldn't really hear her responses though.
Had she already said, because apparently at some point she backtracked a little bit?
I think that was when Kyle and I were gone, and Rusty had her in the car.
Okay. So she had, did anybody tell you that she had changed her mind on her story?
When Rusty and I were on the way to the jail, actually prior to that, before we transported her, the four of us were standing, probably about 4 or 5 car lengths away from Rusty and I's car. And before we took her, I think we had a brief conversation. And that was one of the things Rusty had said is, yeah, she's already changing her story and stuff, and saying, one of the reasons she was doing it was, God, I can't remember, she'd said a couple different things.
But you weren't physically present when she was having those discussions with Rusty. So
No, I was not.
All you know about that is what Rusty told you.
Yeah, all secondhand.
Over the radio at any point, did they decide to call for a female? I mean, Shelley was obviously already gone, but did somebody call for a female deputy or something?
We had a couple requests for a female officer that night, because I think when Kyle was on his traffic stop, I know there was a black male, 2 black females. I think he may have called her to request one, and somebody said that it would be from either y'all or DPS or something. It'd be a while. So I don't think he followed through with it on that particular call. I don't remember if somebody did or not.
So you don't remember anybody canceling them?
I don't.
When y'all got back in the car, was she still with this, it changed her mind type deal? Just drunk?
She was real erratic.
Really?
I mean, one minute she'd try to be halfway cool about things, and then the next minute she'd just go off like that again.
What?
One minute, hey, I'm sorry, I don't want to cause any trouble, stuff like that, and then the next minute, oh my God, there he is. Oh, you guys lied to me, you said you were going to take me to EMS. When we passed the ambulance on the way out of the apartment complex, she started going off there. They're right there, they're right fucking there, I can't believe you guys aren't stopping.
Did she go back on this rape deal, or go back on this kick, I've been raped again, or what?
I don't recall her actually doing that. I recall her keep complaining about, they're right there, I want to give me the rape kit, something like that. And then she kept accusing your dispatch of lying, us lying to her, and it was kind of hard to follow.
Did y'all tell, when y'all got to the jail, did y'all tell the jail that she was making an outcry of rape?
I believe Rusty did.
At the jail?
Yeah, and then while they were doing the search, we actually were asked to step into the side room of the intake before they unhandcuffed her, because she was starting to get hysterical again.
Just because y'all were there?
Yeah, pretty much so. And then I also think one of the medical guys, and I don't know how your jail's laid out here, but it looked like one of the guys that does the medical screening, he came out while they were searching. White shirt, light blue jacket, white guy, kind of thin. Okay.
Sure, it'd be medical.
Yeah. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it was pretty uneventful.
Nobody called back up to the jail later on and told them?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't remember if Rusty did or not?
I don't know. There's only a couple computers over at the PD where we type our reports. They were up at the front ones, and I went to one of the CID spots in the back and started typing up my supplement, and I had another report to do. So, yeah.
At the end of the shift, did the sergeant say anything about it, or say anything at any point after that? Did he meet you on the Sally Port?
I don't believe so. No. God, I don't think so.
Anybody meet you on the Sally Port?
I don't remember. I know earlier, because Shannon and I just left the jail. She and I got done booking a guy, came back to the station, got the arrest sheet done. She called Sergeant Fennell to see if she could take off early. When we were at the jail, one of you guys' deputies that she knew, talked to him. We got done with that. We were coming over. She thought the warrant was out of you guys. It ended up being out of Stevens County. So she was showing me where to pick up the warrants. Came over here, realized it wasn't here. Talked to the same deputy out in the front parking lot.
But you don't remember on this call where y'all transported her to jail, whether or not y'all talked to anybody out in Southport?
I don't remember meeting anybody out in Sallyport. I might be wrong, but I don't remember meeting anybody out in Sallyport.
Did you meet with your sergeant anytime after that?
Back at the station, everybody was back there.
What did he say?
I didn't talk to him too much because Rusty had the videotape, and they started looking at the tape.
Who?
Last I remember, it was Rusty, Sergeant Fennell. Those are really the only two I remember over there looking at it. I didn't even go watch a
Did he
videotape.
make any comment or anything?
Did who?
A sergeant. Say anything about, I just shoot, I don't know what she's talking about, or, we should have took her to jail the first time, or I was just giving her a ride to a hotel, or...
No, I don't remember that. The only thing I remember him saying is that two things, and one of them I found to be true. Try to do something nice for somebody, it always comes back to bite you in the butt. And he was referring to, I guess earlier she had wanted some information on how to find out about her boyfriend, so he had written the phone number to the jail down on the back of one of his business cards and handed it to her, because when we were out there, before we hooked her up on the stairs, she had pulled out the business card and said, "This is who raped me," and wadded it up and threw it down on the ground.
Do you remember whenever she got the card? Were you there for that?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you just going off what Sergeant Fennell said?
No, I was going off of what she said.
Oh, she said...
Yeah, she pulled the card out. She had her cell phone. I don't know if she had a cell phone case or something. She had it in one of her hands, I think. And after she accused me of doing it, she had said it was him. She couldn't even say his name right. But then she had the card, and she wadded it up and threw it down. We picked the card up, and it was Sergeant Fennell's card, and it had the number to the jail on the back.
So what was the other thing
No, it was just,
that he said? Sorry.
try to do something nice for somebody. Yeah, old age. I think it was something to the fact that, man, I don't need this going on or something like that. Yeah, it was something that pretty much anybody that will say, the last thing you want is an allegation like this, because it's a pretty serious thing.
So he didn't call you all together at the end of the shift or at any point and say, hey, here's what happened. If you're asked, here's what you need to say?
No.
Nothing like that?
No.
Or even just made a comment about what happened there in that time frame?
Nah, like I say, since I'm one of the newer guys, and,
No idea where he was during that time period between calls?
no, I don't. So,
We're grasping for straws here, man. If we can come up with a place that he was that we can,
Hang out at 7-Eleven?
yeah. Like I say, I know that we saw him after the first call to the second call, over on Austin Avenue, in between Leander and whatever that other street is. I guess it would be University would be the other main street. It looked like, if I remember right, he was going south. It looked like through the parking lot of one of the little hotels over there.
Like in the parking lot?
Yeah, driving through the parking lot, checking that, or on the little side street there.
Familiar with where Monument Cafe is?
Yeah.
There's a street. If you're going down Austin kind of curves to miss that. The straight off is Brushy Street. And was it in that area
It was absolutely in that area.
where that beverage barn and all that
Yeah.
stuff is?
It was right in that area. But we were on what would be the east side of Austin. And if memory serves me right, he was on the west side of Austin. We were heading west. He was heading south. And it looked like he was going through, like I say, a little hotel. I can remember, I could show you, it had the old-fashioned street lights with like the white light. I even think the poles were white, not the new street lights, the mercury vapor and stuff. So it was that parking lot that I thought he was in.
About how long of a gap did you see him for?
Not very long.
A couple seconds?
Oh no, I mean, probably about 20 seconds. As we were coming up, he went this way. We crossed Austin Avenue and went into that neighborhood on the other side of it, and we lost sight of him.
Driving pretty fast, pretty slow?
No, looked like he was cruising through the parking lot checking something.
At the hotel? Pretty sure he was in that parking lot?
In that area. I don't know for sure it was the parking lot, but in that
Could
area.
have been
yeah.
on the road, could have been in the parking lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could have been a sights view over there. Like I say, I'm still learning the area, so most certainly.
Anything else? You swear all this information you've given us is true and correct, so whatever you got.
Yes, sir.
It's my business card. If you hear something or you remember something you think would be helpful,
Okay.
is there anybody else that you know that we could contact with this investigation that might have some information that'd be beneficial?
No.
We've talked to just about all the officers now.
Yeah, other than that, that's all I can think of.
I carry my cell with me all the time, so you can call me at any time that if you need something or whatever, I can help you.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming in and talking to us.
Not a problem. You over with Detective Pasco?
Yeah, we said
Yeah.
hi in passing about a week ago.
Okay. Yeah, if you need anything else, give me a holler. Sorry I couldn't help more.
Get you give a written statement?
Sure.
Good deal, good deal.
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice seeing you again.
All right.
Find you a place to write here.
117.